Demon Punch! Final exam. Oh, yeah, that's right, guys. You know it. We got Saul hype in 2025. We finally got a named attack from Jaguar D. Saul. Crazy times we live in, man. So welcome back in, y'all. We got One Piece chapter 1142. The full spoilers have dropped. If you have not read them yet, I will be linking them down in the pinned comment, as well as typing it out down there as well. So feel free to check it out for yourself, because today we are just here to hit the main bullet points and just have some fun discussing the chapter. So with that being said, jumping right into it, we got the cover page story where Yamato finally goes into Who's domain and one-shots him with a Thunder Bagua. That's right. According to the spoilers, it literally says that Yamato one-shots Who's Who, which, to be honest, I think we all pretty much expected, right? Who's Who, kind of like over here, Yamato all the way up here. Come on, dude. So I guess the main question now is really just, what will Yamato do with Page 1 and Ulti? Because while I personally like Page 1 and Ulti, we do gotta remember that they were part of the regime that kept Wano oppressed for all these years. So can we really just slap them on the wrist and say, hey, you're one of us now, right? Like, will Yamato recruit these guys, or will they follow Yamato, or no? Will we have to throw them back into prison, right? Because Udon is right around the corner, so technically we could. But that is yet to be seen. Of course, a lot of people are expecting Yamato's journey to parallel Odin, and Odin did go around fighting criminals and recruiting criminals, so I wouldn't be super shocked if this goes that way. So now, on to the actual chapter. We start off and we see Walrus Academy. That is right. We got Walrus Academy, and we got Yorman Gunder, the giant snake from Norse mythology, coming in and attacking the kids. The kids are screaming, they're running for their lives, and that is when we see one of the teachers jump in and attack the snake with a giant hammer. And then, to follow it up, we got Saul landing the finishing blow by using his demon slaying punch that is coated in hockey, and he takes the snake down. Bro, what? I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, we all knew Saul had hockey, right? Oda came out and he said pretty much every vice admiral has observation and basic armament. So it's not surprising, because Saul was a VA in the past. But man, like, you know, I guess just in my mind, I just don't like Saul, so I always underplay him. So seeing him do this, or hearing about him doing this, it's pretty impressive, and I can't wait to see what it looks like, right? How cool is Saul's demon slaying punch going to be? That's my main question. And I also love that Oda gave it like a double meaning, because it's called Demon Slaying Punch, but apparently it's pronounced as Final Exam, to kind of lean into the fact that Saul is a teacher now. But yeah, after we get that, we also meet a brand new character named Headmaster Kiba. Headmaster Kiba is here, and it turns out that he is who Walrus Academy is based off of. He is a giant that looks like a walrus. We don't know, apparently, according to the spoilers, if it is the work of a devil fruit, or if he's simply a mixed mink giant hybrid, which would be really cursed. But yes, he has the long tusks, he has the whiskers, and I'm gonna be honest, but I'm kind of curious to see what he ends up looking like. So apparently, he was once a part of the Giant Warrior Pirates. That's right. This guy, at one point, was working alongside Dory and Brogy. Which, you know, tell me this back in Little Guard, and I'd be like, it's no big deal. But we know how strong Dory and Brogy are, right? So we're talking about another guy who was with them? Yeah. I'm pretty excited to see what he looks like, and excited to see what the other teachers look like as well. Because as we go on, we learn that one of the teachers has actually been knocked out. And this teacher's name is Professor Wolf, which also really cool name, holy hell. And not just did he get knocked out, but all of the kids that were in his classroom got kidnapped. They're being lulled away in a state of slumber. Bro, these God Knights are crazy. And the craziest part about this, to me at least, is the fact that the God Knights are straight chilling. They're having fun. They're relaxing. Not a single God Knight, to our knowledge, is in the actual school. They're all off to the side. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got the kids over here sleepwalking. You got monsters spawning. You know, Gunko's using her arrows to lead the kids to the ships. It's like, yeah, these guys are really effective. And I think their powers so far are pretty impressive. And I want to see how they're doing this. So, like, who specifically is doing what? So, from my understanding, right, after reading the full spoilers, it really does seem like Samar is the one who's causing these fears to manifest into a physical form, right? Jormungandr, all the monsters we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Killing them.
The sleeping guy is the one making kids fall asleep. And I swear, dude, I went back and I double-checked to see if in mythology, the Kirin has a power to make people fall asleep. And I don't see it. I really don't see it anywhere. So I'm just assuming it's him because he is the sleeping guy. He has that sleeping gag, but I could be wrong, right? Oda doesn't really go into distinctions as to who's doing what specifically. But yeah, we got the kids all being lulled away, and that is when Saul's like, okay, we got to alert Elbaf. We have to sound the horn. And that is when they blow it to alert the giants at the party about what is going on here. And that's crazy, bro. Like, any minute now, come next chapter, the chapter afterwards, the giants of Elbaf are going to have to square off against the Holy Knights. And I'm looking forward to it, man. So, here's the thing, right? They sound the horn, and you would expect that the giants would come here. But there is also a reality where we don't get all of the giants here. And the reason why is because of what happens next. So real quick, though, but before we go on, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video. Believe it or not, I like to go out for walks in the park or jogs by the riverside. And unfortunately, there's a lot of noisy people out there 24/7. I know, I sound like an old man, but that is why I'm glad to have the sponsor of today's video by my side, Raycon. Because with Raycon earbuds that come in at half the price of the competition, I can drown out all that excess noise with my music. Raycon's active noise canceling feature is just perfect for my outdoor adventures, only letting me hear what I want to hear. And personally, I've been in a huge Renaissance phase, so I've been re-listening to some of my favorite bands like Deftones, Him, and Tool. Not only do they come with active noise cancellation, but Raycon's latest version of the everyday earbuds sport a solid 32-hour battery life, multi-point connectivity, they're sweat-resistant, come in a variety of colors, and you can even take your expressiveness to the next level by picking up one of their capsule cover carrying cases as well. So if you want to check them out, go to buyraycon.com/SYV or click the link in the description to get a 20% off of your purchase. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no reason not to grab a pair. Again, that is buyraycon.com/SYV to get 20% off of the best-selling everyday earbuds. Brought to you by Raycon. Thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring today's video. So, we cut down to the underworld, and we see that Loki is threatening the gang. He says, hey guys, you gotta release this cuff. If you don't do it, I will destroy Elbaf. Which, I gotta admit, that's a threat. Like, I don't know what Loki's thinking. I mean, he hasn't really studied the art of the deal. But yes, he's threatening them, saying, hey, if you don't take this off, I will hit this tree. And you, Harden, you know that I can destroy this place. And that is exactly what he does. Loki takes Ragnir and he slaps it against the Atom Tree. Lightning falls from the sky. It doesn't come from the hammer. Lightning falls from the sky, hits the tree, and sets it on fire. Actually, the lightning hits the tree in two spots. It hits the tree where Loki strikes it, but also, since it has to travel down from the top, it also lights a branch on fire in the sun world. Loki got the 2-for-1 special. Loki really is a threat, and so much of a threat that the people at the party see this, and they're having to deal with this fire now. Like, they got the horn blowing, they got Loki causing fires. It's like, yeah, like, Loki really is splitting up the attention of the giants who could come to our help. So that is happening, and of course, we don't really see what Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and the new giant warrior pirates are going to do about this. Will they let Loki go, or will they simply beat him up? You know, I don't want to be that muscle-headed guy, but I really do feel like the Straw Hats would just beat him. Like, the guy's threatening to destroy Elbaf. You release the cuff, he's just going to destroy Elbaf still, right? I feel like it's a lose-lose situation when it comes to Loki. So I feel like the only way to win is to take him down. But that doesn't feel like the right answer, right? When I think about the progression of One Piece and where it's going to go next, I just can't imagine us saying, oh, let's knock Loki unconscious and call it a day, right? I feel like something else is going to happen, something that I just can't predict. So one cool thing about this matchup, though, like if they do end up fighting Loki, and a lot of you guys have mentioned it already as well, but if Loki hits Luffy with that hammer, that hammer is only going to do like 50% damage, right? Of course, the hammer, hockey, that's going to hurt a lot. But if lightning comes down from the sky and strikes Luffy, I mean, Luffy would just damn near play with that lightning bolt, dude. Like, we saw what lightning was like back in Onigashima. Luffy rubberized the lightning and threw it at Kaido. So who's to say Luffy doesn't do the same here, right? The lightning would already do 0 damage. Boom, Luffy just takes the lightning and makes it his own weapon. So I'm kind of excited to see what this would look like. But of course, we have a lot of people here. Like, I think Sanji might get a hit in. Zoro might get a hit in. I want to see Harden get a hit in, especially since they're half-brothers. I think Harden and Loki are the most interesting matchup, which I will admit sounds a little bit blasphemous, but considering their history, I do want to see them fight a little bit, right? I want to see if Harden can actually hang in the ring with his brother, which, I don't know, man. I saw a height chart the other day about, like, Harden's height versus Loki's height, and Loki's, like, damn near double, triple the size of him, so, I mean, he's about to get a little broed, but I'm still rooting for him. So with that being said, I do want to pass the question on to you guys. How do you expect this whole situation to go down? Are you expecting Loki to be freed? Or no, are you expecting the Straw Hats and the gang to just put this guy down because he's definitely a threat, right? Everything Scopper said, everything the Giants said about him is pretty much turning out to be true, right? The guy wakes up and he's immediately threatening us. And the worst part is, you know, Loki, he could definitely make a case for himself. If Loki just said, hey, Celestial Dragons are here. Hey, a fake Shanks is here. Hey, they're kidnapping the kids, which he shouldn't know about because Gunko said it while they're in the air. But if he heard it because he has crazy observation, maybe he could say that. Or maybe he says, hey, did you guys hear that horn? We should go, you know, like something's happening up there. We should, you know, not focus on me. Like, I feel like Loki has so many better ways to go about the situation, but he's immediately taking the nuclear route by hitting the atom tree and setting it on fire. Crazy guy, man. Crazy guy. So now we cut back down to Walrus Academy, and we come to find out why some of the monsters that are attacking the school look a little bit silly, why they look like kid drawings. And that is because that is exactly what they are. Ange, earlier in the day, asked the kids to draw what they fear the most. And those drawings just so happen to come to life. And this is where my Ange's evil theory kicks in. But I do want to rein it back a little bit. I think Ange's evil is a funny gag, it's a funny meme. But is Ange actually truly evil? I don't think so. At least not based on this chapter. Just a bunch of happy coincidences that seem to line up with a certain side of the narrative, right? It's like Agenda Piece, but if Agenda Piece was really just Ange versus the world. So yeah, we come to find out that the kids drew doodles about what they're scared of. Some people are scared of Loki. Some people are scared of Nika. Some kid was afraid of Fenrir. We have a Draugr, which is like this giant skeletal warrior. You got like a bear with a helmet. You even have a winged dragon, which, by the way, based on the spoilers yesterday, they said dragon makes an appearance, but I couldn't tell if it was a dragon or actual dragon. Turns out it was an actual dragon. So yeah, a lot of crazy things are happening here. All these monsters are coming out of the woodworks. Literally, they're coming from the forest. And yeah, this is a pretty broken ability. I mean, I gotta see how strong these nightmares are, right? I think that's the main question. Because going back to the beginning of the chapter, Saul and Headmaster Kiba, they took down Jormungandr in 2 attacks. I mean, Jormungandr in Norse mythology is like one of the big bad villains. So the fact that Saul and Kiba took it down easily kind of makes me wonder if these other monsters or demons or nightmares will also be easily dispatched. I'm not super sure. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up putting up a good fight, because if the Giants do rush over here, you know, obviously they're going to have to fend these guys off. So maybe we have like a full-on war, you know, Giants versus Nightmares, which would be pretty interesting. Oh yeah, but 2 more monsters that I forgot to mention here. But we also see a giant frightening thundercloud. So I guess one kid is just really afraid of lightning, which makes sense, right? Because lightning and fire, they're like Elbaf's greatest weakness. But we also see a ghost. That is right. One of the kids is afraid of ghosts, so ghosts are making an appearance here. And here's the thing. Yesterday, in yesterday's video, I started off by saying that I was afraid of ghosts. And some people were like, oh, Sai, that's silly. It's like, no, look at this. It's a real fear. I want to put it in here, guys. And, you know, the reason why I think ghosts are kind of scary, and I'm a guy who watches a lot of horror movies. I'm like kind of desensitized to a lot of normal ghost stuff. But when it comes to like real ghosts, right? The reason I don't like them is because I can't fight them. right? You know, I think about like serial killers, you know, other monsters like a werewolf, or what are people afraid of? Like vampires, I guess, or just something silly, right? Like Mothman. The reason I'm not afraid of those is because I can at least try to fight it. You know, I would lose like 10 out of 10 times, right? But I can at least punch a werewolf, or, you know, tackle Mothman, or do something, right? But when it comes to a ghost, like, you know, you hit that guy, your fist is going to go right through him. So that right there is why I personally don't like ghosts. So, yeah, the more you know. And I saw a lot of you guys ducking in the comments too. Nobody wanted to say what they're afraid of, right? Hey, I said it. I want to hear your guys' fear, right? Is it loneliness? Is it the cartel? You know, like, I gotta know. So, we go down to the final parts of the chapter. And like I said, the God Knights are chilling. They're all up on the cliffside, just watching the kids walking around. They're watching all the monsters running amok, and they're talking about the game. So Killingham, verbatim, says the time limit will be till those brats arrive at the ships. You think that they'll be able to get them back before that? Question mark. And Sommers says, gahahaha, love is all about hurting each other. And I don't get that. I feel like that could be a hint as to what Sommers' powers truly are. So Killingham, like I said, I think he is the one making the kids fall asleep. But as far as Sommers go, if he's the Nightmare Man, I wonder what kind of devil fruit or mythological transformation he's going to end up being. Because since he mentions love here in quotation marks, I wonder if that's going to be like a big hint towards that. Like, is there some kind of mythological nightmare demon that talks about love? I don't know. You know, like, for all we know, this guy could be like Freddy Krueger. So we end off the chapter, and of course, this is like the main thing, but Sommers is like, hey, Gunko, what are you afraid of? And Gunko simply says Nika, right? And I think that's just funny. And I feel like that would be the main fear of all the God Knights, really. Like, you know, you turn over to Killingham, Sommers, Shamrock, like, what are you guys afraid of? I feel like they'd all just say Nika. Just based on the stories that they probably heard from Emu or other celestial dragons, or just through the Void Century. Like, Nika is their number one enemy. And now I'm just kind of curious. What is Gunko's reaction going to be when Nika shows up? You know, like, when Luffy comes here, how are they going to react? Are they going to drop some lore we don't know about regarding Nika? Are they simply going to run? Like, imagine Gunko sees Luffy and she's like, yep, I'm out of here. I'm busting a move. I don't know. But yeah, great chapter overall. Like I said, pretty straightforward, but that is to be expected. There is a break next week, so we will not be back for quite some time. But with that being said, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the chapter, your guys' thoughts on the powers, the events, and how the Loki situation is going to play out. How do you guys think the Straw Hats are going to be divvied up? Because since the Giants blew the horn, since Loki set Elbaf on fire, the Straw Hats are going to have to split. Right? And I'm not talking about like Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, or Robin and Chomper. I'm talking about Frankie, right? Is Frankie going to go back to the Walrus Academy? What about Jinbei, Usopp, Nami, Brook? Like, what are they going to do about this whole situation? I could honestly see them going to the Walrus Academy, because maybe Nami spills the beans and tells everybody that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are hanging out with Loki. And then they're like, okay, like, we don't have to worry about that. So they end up going to the Walrus Academy, which I think is very in line with Nami. Because Nami, time and time again, she has been the protector of children, right? Punk Hazard was a great example. I think there's like a lot of other instances as well where Nami goes out of her way to protect kids. So yeah, I feel like they will end up going to the academy. And if that does happen, I do want to see how Usopp is going to fare in all of this. Because Usopp is still drunk. Like, this is mid-party. So we're about to have drunk Usopp showing up at the scene. And I want to see him take on these monsters, bro. I want to see him try to go against the God Knights. I think it's going to be a crazy time. And also, as far as Shamrock goes, we don't see him in the chapter, which makes sense, right? Last we saw, he was called back to the Holy Land. So did he go back to the Holy Land, or is he still here off screen? We're not too sure. And last question I will leave off on is Killingham's plan. He says the time limit will be until those brats arrive at the ship. But what ship are they referring to? Because you have to remember, the kids and the God Knights, they're in the Sun World. They are atop of the Atom Tree. So how are they going to get a ship that can take them off the island? Are they going to bring the kids all the way down the tree? Or do they have another plan? I think that's something I'm kind of curious about as well. Are they going to use a Zval, the flying ship that the Giants use? Do they have a Sunstone? Or do they have their own flying ship that can make it up here? I think there's a lot of questions coming off this chapter. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time. And the ability to bring nightmares to life, busted, bro. Absolutely busted. But of course, I gotta see more from these monsters. I gotta see what they're made out of, right? Are they gonna end up being one-pump chubs, or are they gonna be as strong as the genuine article? Because you gotta remember, they got Fenrir, a Draugr, giant bird, bear, a dragon, thundercloud, a ghost. They have a giant Loki nightmare version, you know, an evil Nika. Like, how strong are these nightmares truly going to be? But with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here and joining me on this video. And thank you, Raycon, for sponsoring this video as well. And I'll catch you all later. And also, since we will be going through a break week, I will be reading through the comment section. So feel free to drop your thoughts down below. Again, I keep on saying that. And then we will make a video about it later down the road. But yep, I'll catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.